Welcome to CEO Insights. I'm Marilyn de Guzman with INN. I'm speaking with Brandon Macdonald, CEO and Director of Fireweed Metals. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, good to be here.
Good to have you. So, one interesting about your companies, you're working with the Yukon government to create a world-class critical minerals district in Yukon. Could you talk about this strategy, how you're working with the government, and what's the strategy moving forward for that?
Yeah, we have two projects, core projects in Eastern Yukon Territory. Our Mac Pass zinc, lead, silver project, of which zinc is a critical metal and a key part of the economics, in fact, the dominant part of the economics in that project. And immediately next door to it, adjacent to it, we have our Mac tungsten project. That one, tungsten being absolutely a critical metal and being a key shortage in Western supply. So we really see that these two projects next to each other is a unique opportunity in terms of shared infrastructure, even potential operational synergies and capital synergies. So as we advance these projects and de-risk them, it puts us in a place to have kind of two globally significant mines, one for zinc and one for tungsten, right next to each other. And really the collaboration with the Yukon government and federal government for that matter comes in terms of the infrastructure to the project. So we have a road to the project now. This is a road that was built, quite a long time ago and has not seen a lot of activity since then. So the Yukon government, in combination with the federal government of Canada, have committed $71 million to improve the access to our projects. So that's a pretty key component of de-risking, right? So that opening up the infrastructure corridor, allowing it to come to a place where you can actually operate mines. We drive the road now, but it's not really yet in a place where it's in where it could be used for an operating mine. So we see also going forward additional opportunities to collaborate with both the Yukon government, as we go through the assessment project on our assessment process on our zinc project, and as we go through final licensing on our Mac tungsten project. A huge amount of dialogue with the government, but also with the federal government. The new critical mineral infrastructure funds, which were announced by the federal government last year, and then the details of that sort of coming out late last year. That's another opportunity for us to collaborate with them really and build out that corridor to our projects, and perhaps also include some sort of power component to as well.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking to government agencies with your projects to move it forward, what are some of the other, what do you talk to them as still, some of the other obstacles or like the stuff that still needs, the challenges that you're still facing, and, how do you communicate with them?
Yeah, I think, working with the government, of course, it's on us to drill out and define our project and to do the engineering and what have you. But we recognize that ultimately the capital to do that comes from investors, and investors' capital is mobile. They don't have to invest in us. So any effort they can make to make us more appealing as an investment makes a huge difference in our ability to advance the project. So for example, that initial tranche of capital to help improve the road really helps de-risk us, right? So in the eyes of investors, particularly long-term strategic investors, when they see that the government is able to sign an MOU with the First Nations to allow for that capital to be deployed and for the road to be improved, that's a huge change, right? And I would say, another key dialogue really with the Yukon government and to a degree the feds is, ongoing dialogue on the evolution of the environmental and assessment and permitting process in Canada. I think there's been quite a bit of scope creep in the environmental assessment process in Canada, which has lengthened timelines quite a bit. But I'm extremely encouraged by both the acknowledgement of that in various levels of government and a real appetite now to address that. And I think that appetite comes from, this clear understanding that these critical minerals are essential, that it's unwise to be reliant sometimes for 80, 90, or 100% of certain minerals from countries or groups of countries that may not be our closest allies and might even be categorized in some cases as a geopolitical adversary. So this has been great strides forward as we move forward in that direction as well.
So speaking of moving forward, what's the plan for 2024 as you
Yeah, well, 2023 was a huge year for us. We did 3 times as much 2023 than we had done any year before, and in 2024 we would look to be pretty similar. Yeah, it's for our Mactung project that's been mostly drilled to a measured and indicated standard. There's not a lot of drilling left to do there, perhaps some metallurgical work. Really, there we're looking to take what was an old feasibility study from 2008, modernize it, complete the environmental baseline to catch up on that because there was a bit of a gap, and re-enter or enter the final licensing process in hopefully about a year and a half. And then hopefully that all leads to construction in about 4 years. So this year there, not a huge amount to be spent there in terms of dollar-wise, but definitely some critical de-risking and advancing. Now on the Mac Pass project, it's interesting, we hope to be in the environmental assessment in a couple of years, but we're still delineating the edges of that system. 100% of our step-out holes in the known zones in 2023 hit. So we're not yet at the edges of the mineralization in the known zones there. And we also have indications of another 5 to 10 possible zones. So it's very much an advanced exploration project. We'll probably do quite a bit of drilling in expansion of the known zones, quite a bit of work in regional exploration, and then also some maybe limited infill in areas that are of particular economic importance. So that project's a bit, has a bit more to go, but I think it's kind of like a Hollywood problem, so to speak, that it's so big and it keeps growing. It does sometimes push the timeline out, but for very good reason, right? We want to make sure that we permit the right mine.
So we're here at VRIC in Vancouver. What is a key message you want investors to know about your company?
Yeah, I think investors, the key things to know about our company first are the respective quality of the projects, right? Understanding that our zinc project is truly best in class, and there's not really anything else like it held by a junior or really many other development projects, period, globally that could possibly slot into that upper tier of zinc projects. And to understand that our tungsten project, I think without exaggeration, is the best tungsten deposit in the world, certainly the best outside of China. Understanding that, and then perhaps not even taking our word for it, looking at the quality of investors we have, right? You have Teck, the world's third largest zinc miner, who's repeatedly invested in us and owns about 8.5% of the company. You have the Lundin family, who has tremendous track record in this industry, who's invested, I think, about $27 million in us total now, and has about 20% of the company. So this is a couple groups that have a strong track record of identifying quality projects. A strong history with zinc in both of them. That I think is a critical endorsement that you don't have to believe me that the quality of the projects. You look at the sort of people who've put serious dollars behind the company, and I think it should be obvious.
Great. Well, thanks, Brandon, for coming on today and sharing your updates from the company.
Thank you very much.
And thanks, everyone, for watching. Join us again next time for another engaging conversation on CEO Insights. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates and interviews. See you next time.